All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and holy shit, I have been busy. busy, busy, dude. I don't know why I spelled that shit out, but I've been busy. I've been super busy. I've been like crazy busy, and I've been making progress. I've been doing research and setting up my terminal-based, tmux-based multi-monitor data science workflow. And I am like super proud of what I've accomplished here because thanks to this, thanks to tmux, SSH, of course, NeoVim, and Vim-Slime, and I guess iPython as well. Thanks to these kinds of tools, I'm able to use multiple monitors, so far 4 monitors, from 4 different machines to work on stuff on one machine, but like in different sessions. All of that session stuff is thanks to tmux, because what I've done is, so okay, to explain to you guys, I I have 4 machines in front of me right now. I have 2 laptops and 2 desktops. They're all varying specs. All of them are old machines. The only quote unquote powerful machine I would say is the machine I'm currently streaming off of, which is my Windows machine. It has decent hardware. The others also, they have okay hardware, but like it's old compared to today's standards. And one of the machines is like the hardware in it is like 20 years old. I'm talking about a dual core processor with 2 GB of DDR2 RAM. Like that's how old this hardware is. And I managed to even use that machine for this purpose. So the trick here is, one of my desktops, it it happens to have around 12 GB of RAM and a Core i5 processor. And this is where I've decided to host all of the tmux sessions. So I've created tmux sessions, and they'll all be hosted and running on this machine, but I'm going to attach to these tmux sessions from the other machines on the network. So I mentioned I have 2 desktops and 2 laptops. So one of the desktops is hosting all of these tmux sessions. The other 2 laptops and the other desktop, these 3 machines are going to attach to to individual sessions that are being hosted on this desktop. And because of this, I'm able to use this as a multi-monitor setup to, for example, let's say if I want to do data science stuff, I can make it so I'm typing in one screen, I'm typing out text in one screen, and then I can send that code. I should have said I'm typing out code. I can send that Python code that I've typed out to another uh, screen. It's not another screen that I'm sending it to. I'm sending it to another tmux session, which happens to be running an iPython instance in it. So this code will then be sent to that iPython instance where it can be executed. So this way I can have a sort of notebook style, I don't know if I would call it notebook style, or like I'm not sure what else to call it, but like it's similar to a notebook style thing where I can execute chunks of code or individual lines of code. I'm not limited to just executing an entire file, if that makes sense. And that's great. That's incredibly powerful. And this is all possible thanks to Vim-Slime, because the actual like sending of the code is being done through Vim-Slime. Vim-Slime supports a bunch of backends, including tmux. So in the case of tmux, what it's going to do is it sends the it basically sends I can show it to you guys. So it sends the key presses that you, so there's a tmux command called send keys, which you can use to send specific keys and then have that be followed by an enter key, so that once that text is entered in, it'll automatically hit the enter key for you, and that way you're executing that command. And the amazing thing is that you can chain commands this way. So let me show you what I have done. Where was it? DS display, I guess. So look at the command here. This is for creating a display window. Look at how long this command is. Oh, I just hit end. Let me take it back here. Look at how long this command is. This is a chain of multiple commands. This is for creating a window with multiple panes in it. This is the window that you're looking at on the right side of the screen in the center. So this is what I plan on using for displaying images, or basically anything that can fit within 4 smaller windows, anything that doesn't necessarily need a big window. The great thing is that like this is also running within tmux, so if I do need, I could very easily zoom into any of the windows. And yeah. What else was I gonna, oh yeah. So in another tmux session, is it this one? I think so. Yeah, in this tmux session, you can see the iPython interpreter is running. And within this interpreter, I'm able to execute a bunch of code, including code to execute tmux commands. So that's why I have functions like these. These functions, they run using the subprocess module in Python. Additionally, Vim-Slime itself also does something similar, not exactly the same, but it does something similar to send your code to the iPython interpreter. Because of that, you're able to do stuff like, for example, hold on, I need to make sure, hold on. I need to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing right now. Which session is this? This is other laptop. This is for, oh, okay. Right, so the iPython, okay, yeah, that's fine. So you guys can see what's happening here. So if I, so you can see I have four panes here, right? If I, wait, why is there a, hold on, is this not updating if I don't have the window open? Like, what's going on? What's going on there? Okay, all right. So now let me go, like, put the window out of focus. Okay, yeah, it still seems to be doing it. Wait, what's here? Okay, it still seems to be doing it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, so what was I saying? I think I was gonna show you the thing being executed, right? So first things first, let's run this entire block of code. Now let me show you guys what happens when I run this entire block of code. I'm just gonna clear this up. So this entire block, I can run this just by hitting a key map. If I hit Control C, you can see in the bottom right, this thing pops up, asking me to decide whether, you know, I want to do, I want to select slime. Actually, wait, can you guys see that? Hold on. Is that showing up for you guys? Just a second. Yeah, now it's showing up for you guys. Now it's showing up. Yeah, so when I hit this, you can see it allows me to select whether I want to configure Vim-Slime or I want to send a block of code to the REPL, or if I want to send an entire paragraph. What was block of code? Oh, block of code was this thing. Sending a chunk that is delimited. So we delimit. We use a delimiter to help Vim-Slime determine what constitutes a chunk of code. So not everything is going to be, multiple lines without, any empty spaces and stuff. So if I have situations like, for example, let's take this situation, for example, or let's take this situation, for example. Let's say I have even one line of difference here. If I try to send, if I hit Control C to send this code, it would send two of the lines. But then when it sees this empty space, it's not going to send the next line. So if I want that to happen, I'm going to have to use the, I think it's called, I don't remember if bracketed space is like part of this. I don't remember. Either way, in order to send a chunk, I have to do Control C and then Z. And I've defined the key binding for that here. Yeah, in here. So, dude, I've been busy. Holy shit, I'm not exaggerating when I say I've been busy. Now, I want to show you guys what happens now. I think I already showed you the thing running. Let me clear this up again. So if I run this, you can see that it shows up there. So it has executed in iPython. I can also run this function if I want. And then here I would be able to do something like, I don't know, say I equals or A equals add 5 and 10, and then I can do print A. And then I can run that, and you can see the result in iPython. So this is amazing, dude. Like, I'm able to send iPython code. Actually, I'm able to send Python code to the iPython interpreter to execute, basically. And this is thanks to Vim-Slime. Now, what I do further from that point is, if I wanna execute something tmux related, like a tmux command or something, I have an option to do it either through Vim-Slime or through Python itself. And in the case of something like creating and destroying windows, I decided to do it from within Python itself. So I created this display class, and within this, I created functions for creating a display window and destroying a display window. Now, the display window is this. This is what would be created if I created a display window. We can also destroy it. Let me just a second. So before I started the stream, I realized something about the setup that I created. So the idea initially was that I was going to be running. So I have Windows terminal set up. That's another thing that I did in the past week or two. I set up Windows terminal, which is a more modern terminal for Windows, as opposed to shitty fucking command prompt, which is just horrible. And it is, dude, I don't ever want to go back to that again. So I set up Windows terminal here, and within Windows terminal, I'm running WSL2, which is Windows Subsystem for Linux. Within that, I've SSH'd into this desktop, which is running, which is hosting the tmux sessions, and then I've attached to one of those tmux sessions, and that is how I have this. So my idea was that I was going to have one of the tmux sessions display images, entirely images. That's why I split it up into four windows, or in this case, four panes. It's one window and four panes within that one window. The idea was that I'm going to split it up into 4 or 6 or 8, or if possible more, but like my screen is not that big. So I think 4 to 6 is a good bet. But yeah, the idea was that I was gonna split it up into multiple panes and then use those for displaying images. And that's still the idea, but something I didn't take into account while I was imagining all of this stuff. I did manage to set the entire thing up, so I'm able to create the window, which, I mean, the thing has been created. I can also destroy it now. Let me just make sure that I'm sending the thing to the right place. So it's supposed to be sending it to the stream laptop session, which is correct. We are currently on that. I'm going to need to change this up because I recently discovered that my assumption may have been wrong, and it might not work out the way that I thought it would, and that's why I had to kind of change things around. So I had to move one of the sessions to be displayed on my streaming laptop, this Windows laptop, through the Windows terminal, and the session that I was planning on displaying through the Windows terminal on the Windows laptop, I'm instead going to display it on the Ubuntu desktop. So I just had to switch the sessions. And now, because I've switched the sessions, I just need to rename both of those sessions. And the reason I had to do that was because this image display thing that I was planning on doing, I was planning on using, initially I was planning on using Kitty's iCat command to display the images, but that uses Kitty's own graphics protocol, right? I can't get that to work on Windows, or well, I haven't set it up on Windows, and I don't want to go through a whole process of setting that up. Instead, a much simpler solution is to just display that session on the Ubuntu desktop instead, where I can display it through I can display it within a Kitty terminal. And so if I run iCat in here, let me show you just a second. Is this it? Yes, this is it. Let me just get rid of that. There. So this is something. I had something in mind, like along the lines of this. I do need to look into Kitty's commands, or Kitty's arguments, well, the command line arguments, to kind of change the size of the image that's being displayed. I need to see how to go about customizing that whole thing. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to move it over to my Ubuntu desktop, because I have the Kitty terminal there where I can like use the Kitty graphics protocol to customize more of what's going on, hopefully. And at the very least, I have images being displayed. On Windows, I wasn't able to get that to work because there's like multiple layers involved here. So I was hoping that Sixel would help. Sixel is another graphics protocol which can be used to display graphics within the terminal, but then I wasn't able to get that to work in time. So I was like, you know what? The quickest solution would be to just switch the sessions, because my streaming laptop, the laptop that I'm streaming to Twitch from now, I was going to attach to one of the sessions from that laptop, and then the Ubuntu desktop, I was going to attach to one of the sessions on that as well. So both of them are going to be like, the idea was that both of them were going to show something that's going to be shown on stream. So all I had to do was just switch both of them, because this way I'm able to take advantage of the Kitty graphics protocol, and I can display images like this. I do need to work on the size of the thing, because I need it to be zoomed in. Though, I mean, it doesn't really have to be zoomed in so much. I mean, I've zoomed it in this much because it helps me to read. But to be honest, I mean, I could maybe make it smaller. Let me see. I'll have to see, because I wanna see if there's a way for me to because hold on. Kitty does have these options. I need to look into all of these options, and hopefully there's going to be something that lets me do something similar to, image fit to screen or image fit to pane or something like that. If I'm able to make something like that work out, then we're going to have a perfect workflow. So far, for my data science workflow, I have things going pretty well. I have something for displaying images. I have an interpreter, an iPython interpreter, in which I can execute a bunch of code. Oh yeah, let me also show you guys. I don't want to destroy this window. Well, I mean, I'm not doing too much with it, so I could destroy it. Yeah, there you go. So the image, the window has been destroyed. I can also recreate the window. There you go. It's that easy. It's that simple. And this is amazing. Like, dude, I'm controlling this from another machine. It is, dude, those of you who understand tmux would be able to understand how this is working, because if I try to explain it, it's not like it's super complex or super complicated. It's just that I would do a shitty job of explaining it. But like the gist of it is that you have tmux running on one machine, and that tmux server is hosting 3 different tmux sessions, and I am attaching to each of these tmux sessions from 3 different systems across the network over SSH. That's the gist of it. And because of that, I'm able to get the display of each of those sessions on those other 3 machines. That's how I'm achieving this multi-monitor workflow. And dude, this makes me so excited. That is also why I'm able to use that incredibly old machine that I have, with like a dual core CPU and 2 GB of DDR2 RAM. I can even use that machine to do stuff, because anything that I do is going to be consuming resources on the machine that is hosting all of these tmux sessions. It's not going to be consuming resources on any of the other 3 machines. And that's incredibly important, because one of the machines, like I mentioned, dual core processor and 2 GB of RAM, so it's really, really old. It's not that great with handling any kinds of heavy load, right? So the best thing I can do is use it as a terminal to do work on another machine that does actually have resources. So one of the machines is really old hardware. One of the machines, which is actually, funny enough, the laptop that I'm streaming off of right now, this machine, for the longest time, it has had hard drive issues, which have caused all sorts of slowdowns. So anything resource intensive, or more specifically anything that requires reading from and writing to a hard drive, there's a good chance that it's going to take a lot of time, if not outright failing or freezing the entire system. At the very least, it's going to take a lot of time to do that. So like these 2 systems are kind of, to a certain extent, they're lost causes for actually doing any work on them. So the best thing that I can do is use them as displays and use them as terminals to be able to, well, display stuff, but also be able to send input to work on another machine. This is great, dude. Like stuff like tmux is so helpful. This is insane, and I'm so glad that I moved to a TUI based workflow, because I doubt any of this would have been possible if I wasn't using a TUI based workflow. Because I mean, GUI stuff is possible to a certain extent, but aside from being incredibly slow on older hardware, which I have a lot of older hardware, aside from being incredibly slow, it's not always compatible with a lot of tools. Like you look at something like VS Code. VS Code has its own native SSH thing, so you can you can set up VS Code to run on another machine, but that's just the front end. It's just the front end of VS Code that's running on that machine. The back end would actually be running on another machine. So this way you can set up a headless VS Code instance, a headless VS Code server on a more powerful machine, and then you can SSH into it through through VS Code on a less powerful machine and control it using that less powerful machine. Okay, so keeping aside the whole renaming thing that I have to do, also, I'm excited about something else that is this. Look at this, dude. I forgot that I had multi desktop support. I think it's called virtual desktop. Yeah, I forgot that I had virtual desktop support, or at some point maybe I just stopped using it. I don't remember. And especially on one of my, so okay, the machine, this machine on which you can see the 4 screens. This is my Ubuntu desktop. Okay, I'm running Ubuntu on this. On another machine, which is an older laptop that I have, I'm running Ubuntu Studio. Now, a while back, Ubuntu Studio moved. They switched desktop environments with one of the upgrades. That's what happened. It changed the desktop environment from, I forgot what it was. I think it was I forgot what the exact name is, XCFE or XFCE or something like that. It was one of those environments, which was great by itself. I don't know what their reason was. I'm sure they had their reasons for changing it, but they changed it to KDE Plasma. And to put it bluntly, that was that desktop environment, it has been shit for my hardware, at least. It has been shit because, like I mentioned, I'm running old hardware. Okay, can you imagine hitting Alt Tab and then, like, okay, now it's just gonna sound like I'm shitting on it, but like I have reasons for doing that. Can you imagine hitting Alt Tab and then having to wait for like 5 seconds before it actually shows you the options that you're looking for? Alt Tab, for those of you who don't know, it's for switching to, you know, another active window that you have. So if you have Firefox open and you have a, I don't know, OBS or and a file manager and, you know, a bunch of windows open, you can use Alt Tab to switch between them. Now, can you imagine hitting Alt Tab and then having to wait for like 5 seconds? And this usually would happen if I've not used that feature in a bit. It's almost as if there's some sort of sleep mechanism that gets that becomes active when you don't use that feature for a while. So when you use it again after a while, it takes a couple of seconds for the thing to quote unquote wake up. And I dealt with that for a long time. Another issue that I had was anything UI related, anything widgets related, I would definitely be waiting for a couple of seconds. Like, again, imagine you hover your mouse over the volume icon, and then you scroll your mouse wheel down or up to reduce or increase the volume. And before it's able to do any of that, it has to show the widget. But showing the widget itself takes a couple of seconds. So that entire operation takes a couple of seconds to happen. Reducing the volume, you have to wait for a couple of seconds. And I'm talking about like 5 to 10 seconds. Imagine that. And their start menu was also just, it was a nightmare to deal with the search function in the start menu, easily I would have to wait for 10 seconds if I typed even one letter in the search by mistake. I would have to wait for like 5 to 10 seconds. That's crazy. Because of that, I stopped using the search thing and I started favoriting all the programs that I would use more regularly. So the moment I opened that start menu, it would show up. Even displaying the start menu would take a good like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or sometimes even 20 seconds. It's crazy, dude. Like, I got so sick of using the UI. I don't remember how I got on this UI rant of Ubuntu. But yeah, okay. So I used to use virtual desktops on Ubuntu Studio as well. Ubuntu itself had virtual desktop. Ubuntu Studio definitely had virtual desktop on the old desktop environment. But then once it switched from that desktop environment to KDE Plasma, for some reason I couldn't find the option. And I guess I didn't do enough research at the time, or maybe there wasn't enough research because recently when I looked it up, and I'm talking like now, it's been a good like five years later. We are talking about 5 years later, maybe more. I don't. I think at the time maybe people didn't have the information, but recently when I looked it up, I found a Reddit thread where somebody had asked this question, this exact same question about virtual desktops on KDE Plasma, and somebody replied to that person's question, but like a while later. So they were like, "I know this is an old post, but anyone else who's facing the same issue, you have to actually go in the settings and create more of the virtual desktops because that's how it works in KDE Plasma. It doesn't have those things by default. You have to add more virtual desktops, and it's real simple. You just have to go into system settings and I forgot exactly where, but like it's like one or two steps ahead there. You just have to go within the system settings and find that page, and then you can add more virtual desktops. I don't know what the limit is, but yeah, you can add multiple. So in my case, I added four, and now even on my Ubuntu Studio machine, I have multiple desktops. I have multiple screens, let's say virtual desktops, like I used to before. And this is super important for me because all of these things, they make it so I don't have to use KDE Plasma's like widgets and various like UI and stuff, because switching the desktop. So I'm going to switch on Ubuntu, but I'm doing this to show you what it's like on Ubuntu Studio. So this is my, oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't notice your comment. Um, Asher, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Hi, with GPU, another old laptop. Uh, I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about there, but okay, so I have two laptops. Both of them have GPUs in them. One of them has an AMD GPU, the other has an NVIDIA GPU. And both of the desktops that I have, they don't have any external GPUs. The funny thing is though, I'm not using the AMD GPU on my on my laptop. I guess I just never set it up. I don't remember. Give me a second. I need to open up my stream manager on. Hold on. Oh God. Hold on. Chill out. That opened up a TikTok video that I was watching before starting the stream. Okay. Stream manager. And there it is. Okay, cool. Great. Dude, I'm so bad with time management. I was supposed to start the stream earlier. Okay, Asher, you said yes, thank you. Sorry, that's what I meant. I still haven't fully understood. You can rephrase what you were saying and explain it. I haven't understood what you were trying to say. Hold on. With GPU, another old laptop. Yeah, no, I still didn't get it. What was I saying? Yes. So what I was saying is this thing that I'm doing here, it doesn't look as smooth on stream because I'm kind of because I'm capturing this on OBS on Ubuntu and then streaming it to an RTMP server, and from the RTMP server it's being streamed to my Windows machine, which is how it's being streamed to Twitch. What you achieved is really impressive. I would like to try that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm super proud of this setup that I've done, and this is going to be really helpful for me because like I need a multi-monitor setup. I mean, even without a multi-monitor setup, I could do stuff like this, right? But having a multi-monitor setup means that I have the screens in front of me at all times. So it is super helpful. It is incredibly useful. Like, dude, this would not be possible without something like tmux. At least for me, because I have a primarily TUI based workflow now, which I'm super happy about. I'm super glad that I actually did that. I try to run very heavy processes. I don't know if that's the right word. And I think what you do would work a lot for me. Yeah. So what I've done here, just to sort of reiterate, like the what my setup is like. So I have four machines. I have two desktops and two laptops. One of the desktops is really old, so really low resources. One of the laptops has sort of failing hardware, so it's not that great for heavy loads. And one of the other laptops, it's got old hardware, but the hardware runs, so like I can run stuff on it to a decent amount. Now that leaves one desktop. This one desktop, it's running great, and it has about 12 GB of RAM in it, and a Core i5 processor. So what I've done is I've set up tmux on this desktop, and I've created three different tmux sessions that are all being hosted on this desktop. And then what I did is I used the other three machines, which is the remaining old desktop and the remaining two laptops, to attach to each of these tmux sessions. So this way I'm able to do work on this on this heavy resource desktop through all of those other low resource machines. And because of this, I'm also able to have three separate displays, four actually, because if you count the display of the desktop itself, because of this, I'm able to have four separate displays to be able to see more stuff. I'm super excited to move forward with this. Like this is going to be so helpful in multiple things. Okay. Really, if I see it, that's impressive. I had no idea that was possible. In fact, I wanted to do that, but I lack a lot of knowledge to achieve something like that. That's why I recognize it. It's really impressive. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you wanna set up something like this, then you should definitely do some research on, if you haven't already, definitely you want to do some research on uh, setting up and using SSH, and also setting up and using tmux. And if a lot of your workflow is terminal based, like a lot of my workflow is terminal based, so I do coding within the terminal itself. This is NeoVim, which is running within the terminal. Then I have something like this Yahtzee, which is a terminal based file manager. I also have a terminal based PDF viewer, which I installed recently, and a bunch of other like terminal based things. So I've moved a significant amount of my workflow over to the terminal side, and literally the only time I have to go out of the terminal is if I need to do something in Firefox. But other than that, it's all terminal based. But yeah, you should definitely set up something like this if you feel like you can benefit from this kind of a workflow. I feel like a lot of people would be able to benefit from this kind of workflow if they have a majority, terminal based workflow. And in my case, it is incredibly useful because, well, I have a majority terminal based workflow, and I wanted to be able to do stuff like displaying images and coding and seeing the results of the coding and stuff like that. I'm excited to try out something else as well. Considering that I'm using multiple sessions, I could, for example, attach to one of the sessions from one of the, let's say if I need to train a neural network and I've set up the training code, I can then attach to a tmux session, or I can even create a tmux session and attach to it from another machine, let's say my really old desktop. I can attach to it from that desktop and just launch the training code and let the training complete. And then from another machine, I can access those weights and stuff. Forgive me if I answer late. I use Google Translate. I'm from Mexico City and I understand everything, but I can't communicate in English. Yo, it's all good. It's fine. It's fine. You take your time. I mean, you have to type in English so that I understand it. But I mean, it's all good. If you have to use Google Translate to understand what I'm saying, that's perfectly fine. That's cool. Now, dude, multiple things that I'm excited about. Yes, of course, it would benefit me a lot. And of course, I thank you for sharing it. Thank you very much. I will try it. I really appreciate it. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to share whatever knowledge I have. I do want to do a video which showcases this workflow once I've properly started using it, so I can actually show everything in action. So maybe I can set up. I mean, I have this project set up already. I could download a data set and um, I can have NeoVim open in one screen and then have a couple of graphs displayed in another screen, which is why I have this, by the way. Um, this. So the idea is that I'm gonna have something similar to this. Hold on. Yeah, let me try and display the thing here in all four. So the idea, I had another idea, which is like, okay, when I start the stream, then each of these four panes is going to show different images. But then once we actually get into doing stuff for that day, then slowly each of the images can be changed to whatever graph that I'm trying to display. Because in order to place this where I have placed it on stream, because you can see it's on the right side of the screen towards the center of the screen. So I had to remove two of the logos, or well, I had to hide two of the logos, which were these two logos. Oh, they're not showing up. They are supposed to be. Oh, wait. Yeah, they'll show up here. So it's these two logos. I had the I think it was the Hugging Face logo and the Kaggle logo. So I plan on loading those up as well. I'll load uh, those two and maybe load the Python logo as well. That's one of the reasons why I want to find a way to make it smaller, um, to sort of fit the screen. I'm hoping that the Kitty graphics protocol will allow us to do that. No, I don't understand English. I mean, I listen to you in English and I understand English. I just don't speak English very well. I listen and I understand it, but speaking and writing it is hard for me. Oh, okay. So I'm guessing that's where you use Google Translate then. Okay, cool, cool. Hell yeah. Um, but yeah, yeah, dude, I'm excited. I am excited. Dude, I wish I could also set up an RTMP server on the other machine, the weak desktop that I have. But the problem is it's so weak that I don't think I'm going to be able to stream the feed off of that to my Windows machine. That's the problem. I can't actually like stream the feed off of that. Um, that's mainly for me to, benefit from because it's got 2 GB of DDR2 RAM. I don't even know if OBS is gonna run on this thing properly because I would have to set up the RTMP server, which is gonna be running. That's gonna consume resources. Then I'm gonna have to set up OBS, and that's definitely gonna consume resources. Um, Fortunately, the tmux client itself doesn't consume all that much in terms of resources. Yes, yes. To make your stream better, reduce the size of your logos. That's what you said. Yes, yes, exactly. So I kind of wanna I need to find a way to reduce the size of each of these logos. The four logos that you can see right now. I kind of want to find a way to reduce the size of each of these logos to fit each of the windows so it looks better. And I can find something to put down here, which is the where exactly is my mouse? I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, down next to next to my socials thing, there's another Python logo. So I can actually I might just leave that Python logo there just to because if it's going to be a data science stream, then it's mostly going to be it's most definitely going to be Python. There might be a few instances of it being in Rust, but yeah, yeah. The great news is that now everything is I've officially moved out of VS Code and completely into NeoVim. My three daily driver languages, which are Python, Rust, and C Sharp, all three of them, I've set them up to run in NeoVim. So I'm able to do all of the coding within NeoVim. And this is great because, like, dude, there's so much more that you can do. Like for example, oh yeah, this is very important. I want to show this before I forget it again. Let me save. So you guys can see these diagnostics on the right side at the end of each line. And let me also add something here to sort of give an error. Let's say printf. Okay, there's no function called printf. So now you can see um, there's an error being given by both Pyrite and Rough. So in one of the previous streams, I remember I wasn't able to read the diagnostics. So if it was a long line of code and there was an error somewhere in there, then the diagnostics would be cut off. And I was trying to find ways to look at the diagnostics. Um, but like online, I was getting all sorts of different solutions. I'm glad that I didn't look into those solutions because the solution was already present. There's multiple solutions, in fact. So one of them is this, okay? You can see the diagnostics right there, the diagnostics per line. Uh, if I hit the, if I look at the which key menu and then go into the code side of that, you can see there's D shows you line diagnostics. So this shows you that the diagnostics for that specific line, which is great. It's super, super helpful for, line by line uh, error fixing and stuff. An off topic question. Why do you think this happens to me that I understand English when I hear it, but I but I don't know how to speak or write it. Do you think it's due to lack of practice? That is pretty much always because of lack of practice. Because you need to, like, understanding is you can understand it the more you hear, the more you're getting practice of actually understanding the language. I've had a similar situation with another language, but yeah, the more you hear another language, when you hear another language, if you don't know something, you're going to do research on it, and then you'll figure out that, yeah, okay, this is what this means. And then you keep hearing people talking, and in your mind you're going to keep trying to translate it, and so you're already getting practice, right? But with reading and writing, and even speaking, not reading, with speaking and writing, um, you generally need to actually practice it with someone, or even if like, I'm sure there are chatbots now that you can practice it with. So like, generally, if you're trying to get better with reading and writing, no, with writing and speaking, your best bet is actually practicing it with someone. That's probably the reason why you feel like you don't speak and write very well, but like, you can understand it perfectly fine. Oh, woof! I'm learning how to program, bro. I have a degree in marketing, but I'm trying to build an AI and learning everything from scratch. I just do it in Ubuntu with Python, C++, Java, Go, Rust, but I'm learning everything from scratch. That is impressive. And good on you. Good on you. In this day and age, if you're going to be learning something, I would definitely suggest learning something AI related. And I don't just mean how to use AI tools. I mean how to build AI technology. It's definitely something worth doing research on, especially if you're getting into coding. Then, or well, I mean, based on what you are saying, you already have a bunch of languages under your belt. So, Python and Rust, huge bonuses, huge plus points, because you can do AI and ML stuff in both of them now, because there are Rust libraries specifically meant for deep learning stuff and machine learning stuff, and there are some dedicated to what do you call it, data science as well. I might actually be using some of those, because in the past, one of the reasons that I didn't use them is because I was using VS Code, and there wasn't a straightforward method of just displaying the images. So at the time, whenever I would do data science stuff, I would generally do it within some kind of Jupyter notebook. And Jupyter notebooks, they have code cells in which you can type out the code and then execute them, and then they also display the result. Now, the great thing about Jupyter notebooks is that they can display multiple types of output, and one of the types is an image. So if you have an image, you can have it be displayed. If you are trying to plot a matplotlib graph or something like that, it'll automatically display the image for you. You can, well, okay, not, there are certain like there are certain caveats there, but yeah, it does display the thing for you in line. You don't have to like explicitly tell it that, hey, uh, go and load so and so image and display it. No, it'll display the image for you. But because I wasn't able to do that Rust, in Rust you would have to, use you would have to use the more manual method where you render out your results to an image, and then you have it displayed, which ironically is what I'm doing now. Because like, anytime you go outside of the context of notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, you're going to have to do something similar. Now, the great thing is that I have now set this up so that I can easily do exactly that. I can plot, for example, using this code, I can plot the stuff into, you know what? I'm curious about something. Um, just a second. Okay. So I'm going to open up one of these, and I'm going to open up Yahtzee here. And I want Yahtzee to go into, where was it? Was it in work? I don't remember. Okay, no, it wasn't. In here, Python, and in here, testing Vim-Slime 01. And in here, images. Actually, should I activate the environment? I don't think I need to. Okay, so I already have an image in here. I'm going to plot another image. Thanks. Yes, yes, I will try to practice with chatbots. Thanks for the advice. Oh, and I'm 48 years old. Nice. Hell yeah. I look 36, and I think I have the mind of 26. Good. Awesome. And I like to learn, and thank God I learn fast. And here I go. Yes, yes. Jupyter Notebook, I will use it. Right. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. No problem. I started with Jupyter Notebooks, and I stuck with it for a while until I had to switch to a terminal-based workflow where I wasn't exactly able to replicate the Jupyter Notebooks workflow. And so I kind of changed my workflow to this. Um, but like if you are using something like VS Code, then definitely you can do Jupyter Notebook stuff. And if your systems have like a decent amount of hardware, or decent like resources, definitely you can run VS Code and do Jupyter Notebook stuff. Otherwise, the great thing about Jupyter Note no, the great thing about VS Code is that it does support SSH. So what you could do is you could run VS Code, and all of the tech that's running in it, you could run that on a more powerful system, but then SSH into that system, using VS Code on another machine, because VS Code has its own SSH tech, which allows you to use the front end on a weaker system and the back end on a more powerful system. Just a second. Why did that unmute? Are you kidding me? Give me a second. The internet is being a little bit slow. So I'm just doing something here. Okay, cool. Uh, just a minute. Okay, now, here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna try generating. And I mean, there is a message. There is an image already that I could use, but instead of that, I'm gonna use. I'm gonna generate another image and use that. So let's change this to, I don't know, 2 and 3 and then 1, and we can say 5, and so that'll give it a different shape. And then we can say img02, and yeah, that's good. So let's run this code. So the code ran, and you can see here the code just ran, and you can also see the comment that got sent in. That comment is actually the delimiter. So this is what tells it how to recognize a chunk of code. So you can use these delimiters to sort of separate chunks together, or you could just group them up without any empty lines. But if you don't want to group them up, if you have like, let's say 2 or 3 different functions, and in each of those functions you have, or yeah, let's say you have an entire function, and within that function you have some lines that are grouped together, some lines that are separate, and stuff like that. You know, people have different ways of typing out their code. Then you can use a delimiter. Oh, actually, hold on. I just realized this did not use the delimiter. This is going to use it. Yeah, there you go. Now it used the delimiter. What it did is it started from where this delimiter thing is, and then it went all the way to the end. So if I add another comment here and then do it in this way, then it only sends that. Yeah, sorry about that. There was a bit of a confusion. If I do Control C, then it sends an entire, like all lines grouped together, all the lines that it can group together. But if I do Control C and Z, that's for sending a chunk of code that uses the delimiter. Okay, interesting. Thanks. If I use VS Code alone, I don't know how to explain it. No true, nothing here. I use it as a notepad, as if it were a repository, something more like a notepad. So it's kind of interesting. I used to use VS Code for that purpose, but then I started to notice, and again, because I'm using older machines, so I kind of notice when things are slowing down. If you're using a newer machine with, I don't know, even 6 GB of RAM or 4 GB of like DDR4, or I don't know if we have DDR5 right now. I think maybe we are on DDR5. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you have like 6 GB of RAM and you have like a Core i5 processor and stuff like that, then you're going to notice stuff like less. But like I'm running on older hardware. Actually, I should change that. If you have at least like 8 GB of RAM, then you're not going to notice it as much. On 4 to 6 GB, there's a chance that you're going to notice it. And I started to notice kind of slowdowns happening, slowdowns which didn't need to happen. So for note taking, I actually have multiple things that I do for note taking. So I have this application which is called a mind map. This specific application is called Hacker's Mind Map. But if you just look up mind map tools online, you can find GUI, plenty of GUI based mind mapping tools. These help you create these sort of, tree like structures. So if you have something that needs to be structured, then you're not limited to just using a list. Instead, you can create something like this. Or So this is one tool that I use. Another tool is, how do I show it to you? Um, just a second. Yeah, here it is. So another one is this. This is a TUI based app called tjournal, which is a journaling app. Basically, you can do stuff like you can create an entry here and give it a title, and of course date and priority and stuff. And you can also give it tags. Once you've done that, let's create one here. Let's say test O1 and the date and the priority, and tags we can say sum O1, sum O2, sum O3. Okay, it creates an entry there, and you can see the tags mentioned as well. And then you can open it up in your favorite editor, which in my case it's NeoVim, and then you can type out whatever you want, save it, and then go back, and then you can save the journal. You can save the entire journal itself. And this is super useful. In my case, I'm using this for creating a knowledge base. I'm going to delete this right now because I don't need this. Yeah, in my case, I'm using this for creating a knowledge base. Like, for example, I set up this thing with multiple entries, which eventually I'm going to be creating a system to sort of pull all of this data, because you can export all of this data as JSON data. And so because of that, I'm able to just pull all of the data. And actually, you don't even need to export it as JSON data. Like, the moment you save it, it gets saved as JSON data. So what I can do is let's say if I'm creating a GitHub website, I can create a tool that'll extract all of these entries and then create individual pages to show each of these entries, because this is sort of my knowledge base of like random tidbits of knowledge, things that I feel like I might need to come back to later on, and things that I've figured out over time that I would like to help others with figuring out. Oh shit, dude! I never finished adding this entry. Yeah, I need to do this today before I forget again, because setting up the RTMP stream or setting up the RTMP server was a bit of a it was a bit of a hassle. Wait, okay, you asked a question. Hey, do you have Discord? No, I mean I'm not active. I'm not very active on Discord. I'm actually not a very like social person. So even if like you were able to connect on Discord, like there's a very rare chance that I'm gonna reply. What is a delimiter? A delimiter in this case is something that so I don't know the official definition, but in this case, a delimiter is something that the system can use to separate things. So in this case, it is, and even in general, when you're talking about a delimiter, it helps the system separate things, or another instance where a delimiter would be used is, I believe, even when you're using it in like escape sequences, even then it's a delimiter. Even then it's called a delimiter. Like, for example, if you are typing out if you're typing out some text in the Ubuntu shell, and the text that you're trying to type out in there, it uses a semicolon. A semicolon means something like within the shell itself. So you don't want that to be necessarily interpreted as a semicolon. Instead, you want, like, if you're passing that, let me show as an example. Uh, this. So this is a tmux command that's being sent. Now this is going to be sent over this entire string, tmux send keys and so on, so on, so on. So all of this is going to be sent over to the shell. This is going to be executed by the shell, which is why I need to add this first slash here. The second slash was, I believe, for Python itself. But yeah, the first slash here, it's okay. I don't want to like confuse you too much with, like, in this case, a delimiter is, hold on, here in this case a delimiter is something that helps the system understand, uh, it helps the system kind of separate things. But in this case, when you're calling it a delimiter, it's used more as like an escape kind of thing, where you don't want the system to interpret this. You don't want the system to interpret this, but you want like the next thing to interpret this instead. I don't know if I explained that very well. That I butchered that, but yeah, that's what it is in this case. I have this too. Um, Predator Helios Neo 16. Um, okay, Intel Core i9. That's wow. That's crazy. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070. That is high. 16 GB RAM, 1 TB SSD, and another one is this Huawei Intel Core i5, and even that has 16 GB of RAM and 1 TB 1 TB SSD. Yo, you can do quite a bit with that. You can do quite a bit, and especially with that desktop, not that desktop, with that. Okay, I'm glad you understood what I was saying. I really butchered this explanation because like this is necessary because with the semicolon, it means something in the shell. This entire line of code is going to be executed by the shell, but the semicolon, it means something in the shell. If I remember right, it's a way of saying that, this is the next command to be executed. I don't remember, but like you are passing this semicolon, or I am passing this semicolon in this case because I want tmux to interpret the next thing as the command. That's why it has to be escaped, so that we can make sure that the shell doesn't interpret the semicolon. But yeah, okay. Yo, the hardware that you have mentioned is actually insane. You definitely want to look into, like, you mentioned doing stuff AI related. You can absolutely run AI models and even train AI models with your hardware. And if you have older machines, older laptops, or even older desktops, you can then set up a tmux session on one of these powerful machines and then SSH into this machine from the other laptop or the other desktop from one of your like older machines, and you could easily do work on that machine, or you could do work on this machine through that machine. Basically what I'm doing right now. You could do a lot with the hardware that you have. Good on you. Good on you. Hell yeah. There's yo, you can do a lot in terms of, because okay, the reason why I'm saying you can do a lot with like AI stuff is because um quite a lot of people are looking to run their models, be it running the model or training the model. Quite a lot of people are looking to use GPU resources to train their models or even run their models. And quite a lot of models do actually have support for running on GPUs. And the amazing thing is that yours is specifically NVIDIA, so you're going to be using CUDA, which, at least from what I understand, is pretty fast compared to all of the others. And keeping speed aside, at the very least, in terms of GPU support, at least from what I've seen, you can expect to find more CUDA support for both running and training models than support for other stuff like, I don't know, Rockham, and there was something else mentioned. I think there was something called HIPS. I don't remember. I didn't look into either of those. But yeah, you can definitely use your GPU for, and especially like this kind of a GPU, you can definitely use this GPU for a bunch of AI related stuff. Good on you. Good on you. I wish I had this kind of powerful hardware. For me, I'm working with like older, weaker hardware. Fortunately, it's not so weak that it's completely useless. But the fact that I've moved a lot of my workflow over to TUI based apps, that has really helped because I'm going to have tons of resources now to do the stuff that I was trying to do. Now, okay, hold up. Just a second. So, which one am I looking at here? I think it's this. No, it's not this. I named them wrong. I didn't name them wrong. No, I named them and then I moved them. Yeah. How I wish I could show you what I do. I mean, if you are not able to talk too much about like what you do, you can just like drop hints and talk about what kind of work you're doing. You don't necessarily have to show it to me. You can describe it to me in whatever way you are most comfortable with describing it. And that's fine as well. Now, give me a second here. I'm looking for, you know what? There's somebody here doing random nerd stuff. So let's see. Oh, no, can't go there because it's a verified accounts only chat. So that is not going to work out. There's somebody here prototyping for science. You know what? We're going to go to this person. Yeah, we're going to go to this person. I've never been to this person's stream. This is a person named Fop Shop. They are working on something. They are currently in the co-working and studying category. Yes. What I'm missing is RAM. It's full to the top. I need at least 32 GB, and good, it would be 64 GB. That's crazy. Yo, I wish I had that kind of resources. Good on you though. Good on you. Now, that being said, that's going to be it for today's stream. Asher, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by and chatting and stuff. Appreciate it. Good luck with your AI studies and all of the other programming studies you're doing. Anyone else who might have been lurking in the chat, um, anyone else who might have been lurking in the chat, thank you for hanging out. That's going to be it for today's stream. I wish I could go for longer, but yeah, I became late to start the stream, and that is completely my fault. I'm going to try and start again earlier tomorrow. Soon, I'm going to start working on the streamer AI voice app thing that I had in mind. Let's see how well that goes. But dude, I'm excited. When I tell you I'm excited, I'm excited. Holy shit, I'm so excited to do all of my data science stuff, get back into data science stuff again. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's stream. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.